Hi YouTube, it's Hoyt. I want to share two dreams I had with you guys that were very similar. And also, these two dreams were about Russia and they were at different times. This first dream that I had was probably about five, maybe 5, 6 months ago. And the second dream I had was about like 2 days ago. So, I just want to get into the first dream. So, this first dream that I had, it was about two Christian men. One guy was an old man. He was probably about 65 or 70. And the other guy was probably about like 30, early 30s. Yeah. And the old guy was um, the younger guy's dad. So it was the dad and son. And both of these guys were Christian and they were country folk and they were preppers. They were preparing for the end and they had like a bunch of guns and food and preparations and all sorts of stuff. Now, these two both made videos online about their dreams. Like they would share them, like every time they had a dream, they would share it. And in my dream, I got to see the comment section of these guys' videos. And the son especially was getting a lot of hate. A lot of people were like, hey, what you're saying is wrong. It's not true. And like what you're saying is blasphemy. Um, like what you're seeing is not in the Bible. It's completely untrue. And the guy said, God showed me these things in my dreams. I speak to God. God speaks to me. Like I actually have a relationship with God. The things that I'm being shown, God has shown me. And they didn't believe him. And so in my dream, the dad and the son were talking about how these people didn't believe them, and that the son was like, I'm gonna keep sharing my dreams with these people, and the dad was like, yeah, keep doing it, son. And so in the dream, the next scene, me and the son, uh, I wasn't the dad, I was me, but me and the son were outside, the younger guy, and he was making a YouTube video or something, or a video for one of his social media platforms, whatever he posts on. And I didn't really know what he posts on, but he was making a video, and in the video there was a big cage, a huge cage. It was wooden. It was kind of like made of logs, just kind of put together, but it was very strong, very big, and kind of very heavy duty. And so this cage had a baby cub in it, and also a mama bear, a grizzly bear, both grizzly bears. And this guy was making his video, and he said that God is going to use other countries to judge the United States, and that the United States is going to fall. And then he said that Russia is going to end the West completely. And I knew that what he was saying was true because I've seen it in other dreams. But yeah, that's what he said. He said God is going to judge the United States, and the United States is going to be attacked by many countries, and Russia is going to end the West. Like he was very serious, like about what he was saying, and I knew it to be true. And in the dream, he turned around and he walked up to that big cage and he let out the mama grizzly bear. And then so there was like a door. He pulled it up manually, and then he dropped it back down. So he let out the mama bear, but he didn't let out the cub. And so the mama bear came out, the grizzly bear, and he started petting it, and it was friendly. And what happened was uh, the bear didn't attack him. But what was crazy is that the bear had on a bulletproof vest, or a plate. Well, he had on a plate carrier, but most people will know it by a bulletproof vest. So, and the plate carrier was like tan. And what was crazy about this was on like both sides of the plate carrier, like right here and right here on both sides, there was a patch, a Velcro patch. What it was a flag that can Velcro on to the bulletproof vest. And what the flag was the Soviet Union flag that the Russians used to have back when they were originally the Soviet Union. And the flag is red with a yellow hammer and sickle like in the corner of it. And I was like, wait a minute. So Russia currently, right now, they're known as the Russian Federation. They are not the Soviet Union. Ever since the fall of the Soviet Union, like I think it was in like the 90s, um, things have changed. They were a communist country back then, and they were known as the Soviet Union. They even had a different flag. Now they're the Russian Federation. Their flag is red, blue, and white. In this dream, their flag was the Soviet Union flag. I think that they're going to revert back to being the Soviet Union. They're going to go back to their communist ways. And this is what I believe. I've seen this in this dream. And it was super detailed. Like in my dream, like my eyes like zoomed in on the flag. And I was like, wow, so that's interesting. Um, and yeah, and then so the guy was petting the bear in the dream, and then he went to open the cage, and he let out the baby cub, and the baby cub met with his mom, and the mama bear licked the baby cub, and then the man in the dream was like smiling, and then the dream ended. So that dream, I believe the bears represented Russia. Of course they did. And that the symbolism of the man opening the cage and laying out the bears is that I guess the Russian bear is going to be unleashed, and the Russian bear or Russia is gonna wreak havoc on everybody that has gone against her, Russia. And it's going to be horrible. And I've seen it. Like Russia, when World War III starts, it is going to be insane. Russia is not playing. People think Russia's playing, but they're not playing. God is going to use Russia to take down this country, the United States. I've seen it in so many dreams. And yeah, what that guy was saying in that dream was completely true. And so that was the first dream. Now, the second dream that I had was kind of similar and something I saw. So the second dream that I had, it started and I was in a small home, and it was early morning. This took place in Russia. Now, in my dream, I was on a rocking chair in this house, rocking back and forth with like a cup of coffee and like some breakfast or something. And I was just eating, rocking back and forth, drinking this coffee. And I was kind of like scratching my head. I was like, where am I? It was very dark in the house. Like it was dimly lit, but there was a fireplace going. And so there's a little bit of light. But I looked around, and there was two Russian women. They were both blonde. They were both like really tall. And they were they're super good looking. I was like, wow, they almost look like supermodels. And they had on these big like fur coats. You know the big fur coats that have the thing around the neck, and it kind of looks like the thing that Dracula wears. It sticks up really high. They had that on, and then they also had Ushankas on, those big Russian fur hats, and I think their hats had the Soviet hammer and sickle on the middle, like right here. And yeah, they had that. And also in the dream, so basically we were sitting around, rocking back and forth, drinking coffee and eating breakfast. But what happened was I went out to the window, and we all went out to the window. Like we went to the window and we looked out the window, and it was very cold outside, like super cold. And it was snowy, and the sky was super cloudy, and it was kind of like blue, but it was early morning. The sun was coming up, but it was super like blue. It was weird. And so I looked up to the street, which was probably like 30 feet in front of me, and I saw two new Russian monuments that were like built, like statues of like soldiers. And both of these statues, man, I'm getting goosebumps. Even with this jacket on, I'm getting goosebumps all over my body saying this. Both of these statues, both had the Russian hammer and sickle on them, and they were freshly painted red. The hammer and sickle was painted red, and these monuments were new. They were like shiny, like made of like, I don't know what kind of metal or what it was made of, but it was super shiny and it was brand new. And they were set outside by the street. There's two of them. And I knew I was in Russia, but I also had a knowing that the two ladies that I was with in the dream were poor, and that Russia as a whole, their whole country was poor. And I had a knowing that something very bad was going on and that war was about to break out. Like I knew this somehow in the dream. I had a, you know, when you get a bad feeling in your stomach, or like when you go over a hill too fast, like a steep hill, and you go down, you feel that sinking feeling in your chest. That's what I felt in the dream. Um, and basically, after that, the dream ended and I woke up. But in both of these dreams, I saw the hammer and the sickle. And it leads me to believe that Russia is going to go back to their old ways. They're going to return to being the Soviet Union again, being a communist country. And yeah, they're going to fight us in World War III. I've seen this. And like the things that the United States has done to other countries, because it's our government that's evil. Like Russia's not gonna put up with it much longer. One day they're literally going to nuke us out of existence, and they're gonna take over the United States. I've I've literally had dreams back when I lived. So I'm from Missouri. I had dreams when I lived in Missouri. I was like 14. I was having dreams of my my house, the street I used to live on, my whole street that I used to live on, all of my neighbors were gone. They uh they didn't live there anymore. And there was like these overgrown trees everywhere. It almost seemed like everything was abandoned. And in my dream, I was walking through like thick brush, and I realized that I was walking on the street in front of my house, but it looked like something out of an apocalypse movie. Everything was overgrown, everything was crazy. And I heard in the dream, I heard people talking. It was nighttime, and they were speaking Russian. They were not American, they were Russian. They were all Russian. And keep in mind, I was 14 at the time. I was like, what is this even about? And in my dream, I find my house. I was like going through thick brush, like moving branches out of the way. And I found my old house, and I was walking up to my house, and I can only see my house because of the moonlight. And in the dream, I walked up to my house and I opened the door, and a freaking huge grizzly bear ran at me full speed, and I shut the door just in time so the bear couldn't get in, and it clawed at the door, and the door kind of like creaked open a little bit, and I slammed it and I locked the door really fast. And I was terrified in the dream, and I knew, like, now I know what that bear was in the dream. That bear represented Russia. That Russia attacked the United States in my dream, and they took the United States over. The Russians lived in Kabul, Missouri. That's where I'm from. I'm from Kabul, Missouri. And in that dream that I had when I was 14, I saw Kabul, Missouri taken over by the Russians. It was Russian occupied Missouri. And now, after having all these dreams, all these years, I now know that Russia is going to destroy the United States because our government is bad. Our government uses our military to get whatever they want. And one day, Putin's gonna be like, that's enough, and they're just gonna wipe us out. And that's pretty much it. So I want to share these things with you guys, and take it or leave it. And if you don't believe me, pray about it. Baptize yourself, get baptized, and pray about it, because Russia is not playing. And that's pretty much it. So yeah, so do what you must with this information. And I really hope that people listen and, take heed to these warnings to, get right with God, and listen to what God is showing you, and be prepared. So that's pretty much it. So goodbye, and God bless you guys.